What's good? That's your boy JPN, and today we got Prince Andrew was arrested because of the Epstein files. Vodzilla, shout out to this guy, good guy, like political stuff. So before we start, let's go into who Prince Andrew was. I don't know who he is. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I heard of him. All right. So Prince Andrew was the Duke of York. Duke of York. Born February 19th, 1960. Birthday just passed. Is a member of the House of Windsor. So right there, the House of Windsor. The House of Windsor is the current royal house of the United Kingdom and other Commonwealth realms. The house name was inspired by the historical Windsor Castle. The house was founded on July 17, 1970, when King George the the fifth or the fourth, the fifth, whatever. That's what it is. So he's the third child and second son of Queen Elizabeth. So Queen Elizabeth, as everyone knows, on the dollar, right? So second son of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, and the Duke of Edinburgh, and the younger brother of King Charles III. Andrew was born second in line of succession of the British throne and is eighth as of 2026. So this guy was born into wealth, born into essentially king and queenship, which we don't believe over here like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that. But yeah. Anyways, let's get into this reaction right here.
Prince Andrew has been arrested because of the Epstein files. He got stripped of his title, and now the king is saying, let me state clearly, the law must take its course. I have learned with the deepest concerns the news about Andrew and the suspicion of misconduct in public office. Now, if you're like me, you'd think that misconduct is related to women and the accusations that have been levied against the prince. But that is not the case. It's actually about the leaking of private information while serving as the UK's special representative for international trade and investment. This is because it was discovered that the Duke would sometimes forward information to Jeffrey Epstein that was obviously sensitive, like this: Helmand high-value commercial properties for foreign investment, or this, a trip report for Vietnam, Singapore, Hong Kong, Shenzhen. Obviously, the former Prince Andrew would have access to insider information or confidential information as part of his role, and forwarding that to a financial trading file is probably not a great idea. This is also deeply concerning because it blows a hole in Prince Andrew's big lies where he said he cut off Jeffrey Epstein in the late 2010s, because this is right about the time that he's engaging him once again in all of his contact. So for him to previously had said, oh yeah, I found out he was a bad guy and I cut him off, I had to travel to visit him to cut him off. Suddenly that doesn't hold water when emails come out where you're sharing possible state secrets with this guy. Here, Andrew, the former Duke, is sending a message to Jeffrey Epstein asking, I am checking, but as this is a U.S. institution, do you know of anyone who might take a look? Talking about a company called Aria Petroleum, which was sent to him, which says the company needs a $200 million working capital line due to significantly increased business from U.S. DOD. So Andrew would have had access to all this deal flow, all these things.
God damn, this man was involved in all type of shit. I'm talking to Jeffrey Epstein about that. And Epstein, you already know what he doing to get that money, so.
It looks like, at least in some instances, he would actually seek possible investment from Jeffrey Epstein for some of these companies. I want to call back your mind to this interview because it's so important to realize how this guy has lied to our faces for years before we address the bigger elephant in the room.
He was released in July. Within months, by December of 2010, you went to stay with him at his New York mansion. Why? Why were you staying with a convicted offender?
Right. Now, I went there with the sole purpose of saying to him that because he had been convicted, it was inappropriate for us to be seen together. I felt that doing it over the telephone...
You didn't have to do that. You could have texted him, you could have emailed him. You didn't have to go all the way there. Come on, man. You had unfinished business you had to do.
Telephone was the chicken's way of doing it. I had to go and see him and talk to him.
Well, there you have it. Prince Andrew says he had to go see and tell Epstein personally that, oh, we can't be friends anymore because you're convicted. I can't do that for you. And this is late in December 2010 where he says he went to cut off Jeffrey Epstein because he now knew that he's a convicted.
Apparently you can go from zero to a complete site in just a
Goddamn,
single
man.
prompt with Wix Harmony. I
Goddamn.
don't know if this is going to be possible. Or vibe coding meets
But again, if you look at the dates of all these deals being passed along to Epstein, all these messages being passed along, it's right around the 2010, specifically December 2010 line where supposedly he had one thing in mind, and that was to cut off Jeffrey Epstein. Actually, he might have been passing along state secrets. Now, obviously, a formal investigation by the UK police is going to commence, but that's what this arrest appears to be about so far. Misconduct in public office, his responsibilities to the people of the UK at the time, and how these emails could have affected that. But it's this larger context of Andrew lying about his association with Epstein that I want to bring to the front of this next conversation, because obviously Prince Andrew's biggest problem with the Epstein files isn't necessarily the confidential information he shared. It's obviously the allegations made against him, specifically by a woman named Virginia Giuffre, who was captured in an image with Prince Andrew at the time when she was a young lady.
Damn,
And then
this man looks so different.
later, she alleged to have been trafficked to Prince Andrew and that they had together. Andrew was asked about this.
Andrew, you're gonna get caught up, buddy, or you're already arrested.
In an interview and
Cool.
famously denied it. Not only denied it, but said it all couldn't have happened because he didn't sweat at the time.
She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have bath, possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time, and that was actually, yes, I didn't sweat at the time because I had suffered what I would describe as an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when I was shot at. And I simply, it was almost impossible for me to sweat.
Well, there's another monster whopper from the former Prince
Stop all that cap, Andrew.
Andrew, because of course he claims, oh, I couldn't have been there because she describes me as sweating, and it's impossible for me to sweat. But of course, some photos emerged where Prince Andrew appears to be sweating like a pig. But of course, all of this is the lead up to the bigger denial, right? It's not about whether he sweats or not. It's about his word versus Virginia Giuffre's.
You can say categorically that you don't recall meeting Virginia Roberts, dining with her,
Yep.
dancing with her at Tramp, or
Yep.
going on to have sex with her
Yes.
in a bedroom in a house in Belgravia.
I can absolutely categorically tell you it never happened.
It never happened. And I want to say Virginia Roberts was her maiden name. Giuffre was her later name. That's why they referred to her as Roberts there. But what's so interesting about what the Epstein files have revealed, remember that we were told it's a big nothing burger, nothing's going to come out of this. But nearly all of Prince Andrew's lies in this interview have been discovered now that we have contemporaneous communication, such as this communication between Jeffrey Epstein and a guy named Thomas Landon. Now, Landon formerly worked for the New York Times until 2019. Thomas Landon says here, I think the big issue is separating yourself from Andrew. I mean, in the end, he had consensual sex with Virginia Roberts, and Virginia Roberts worked for you. The rest is atmospherics. Now, this is a huge allegation because Thomas Landon is basically admitting, yeah, of course, Virginia Roberts had sex with Prince Andrew. And of course, she worked for you. So this is a tacit admission back in 2015, I mean, way early on, that the substance of the story of them actually having sex is true. But the prince basically says it never happened at all. And so I don't really know how credible that is. He's basically lied through his teeth this entire time about his ability to sweat, meeting her at all. There's a photo of it. And then, of course, having sex with her. Internally, they're like, yeah, of course that happened. And that's just the Virginia Giuffre part. That's to say nothing of the lies about cutting off Epstein in 2010 when it appears that the exact opposite happened and that he was passing along key information from his role as this trade envoy. I should also mention that this has been a closely examined story for a long time. Andrew Lowney released a book exploring his friendship with Epstein and his relationships, alleging discovering a lot of damaging things related to
Bro.
Andrew's personal life.
These niggas are fucking sick of that.
The book alleges that while staying in Thailand, more than 40 women were brought to his hotel room. Hotel staff were used to foreigners bringing in girls, but amazed that more than 10 a day were going to Andrew's room, Lowney writes. The book also alleges that compromising material on Andrew may have been passed to Israel's Mossad Secret Service. So it isn't as if this is Andrew's first time getting in trouble, but the Epstein files have confirmed a lot of what has been whispered about or suspected for a long time about his improper handling of
Well, hey, fucking hell.
his relationship with Epstein, of his position in the 2010s. We also discovered in the files the DOJ actually approached Prince Andrew about information regarding someone named Peter Nygaard, who was, quote, believed to have trafficked minor and adult victims. According to the UK Telegraph, the Duke is understood to have stayed at Mr. Nygaard's mansion with his ex-wife in June 2000. Later, that same guy was convicted on assaults of 4 women, ranging in age from 16 to 28 at the time of offenses. So Andrew has been embroiled in controversy for a while. This may just be the first thing that he's actually stuck with, is this charge of inappropriate leaking of confidential information.
Hey man, shout out to Vodzilla here. Great video. Let me know your opinion in the comments. At the end of the day, Andrew, the Duke, whatever you are, bro, you got some issues, bro. Child trafficking, all this stuff with all these women. Lying about the sweat, that's crazy. You know, lying about locations, lying about any of that relationship with Epstein. Hey man, a lot of shit's gonna come out that's gonna scare everyone. But anyways, y'all, it's your boy JP, and we're gonna catch you in the next video. Goddamn.